Jim, and Goody are with me as usual. We're going to take a look back at the epic weekend of Premiership semi-finals, and we'll be looking ahead to England and the British and Irish Lions getting their summers underway. Plus, we'll be speaking to Quins coach Nick Evans about the big comeback and how his club has turned things around. So make sure you've subscribed, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. It's a massive week for us as we're hosting our first live show in 18 months at the Clapham Grand on Wednesday. We've got a Lions tourist from the 2009 tour to South Africa joining us, and you can watch it from anywhere in the world live or on demand for 48 hours if you register at dice.fm. If you're in the UK and you didn't manage to get a ticket, you can also stream it and get a case of 8 free beers from Beer 52 by signing up to their subscription service at beer52.com with the code RugbyPod. It's going to be a cracking night, so make sure you get involved.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to it. Yeah.
You're not?
No, of course I am. I can't wait. I'm so excited. And I've got my little black book out and I've made notes about the games which we can go through, right. Andrew and Andy. And at the bottom, I've put travel ? I've still not booked my travel. Just in case, China, just in case something happened and it got called off and I didn't want to get too excited, and I'm going to book my travel. It's Monday, podcast out on Tuesday. Lads, I'm coming home. I'm coming home.
Oh, you're coming home. So you're English then, Jim, now, are you? Because we had this debate over the football on Friday, and you on the phone you said to me you were supporting England because you're English, but then you say something different on Twitter with it being a Scottish fan, do you?
Did I say that? Well, you also texted me saying that you hope Bristol's put 50 points on Quins, but let's not go through our personal conversations.
Yeah, true.
I mean, I'm coming home as in like I'm coming home as in on stage. That's what I mean.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you go. I'm not looking. I'll be honest. I ain't looking forward to it after the weekend I've had.
Really?
Yeah, I was so thirsty on Friday, Saturday. You know when you're like giddy, and then you go out on Saturday night, and we had a lovely meal with some friends, and that lovely meal ends up being loads of drinks, loads of bottles of wine, amaretto sours, getting home at whatever time it was. And now I'm still jaded on Monday.
Like, no, don't do it to me. Don't do this to me. It's like, Andrew, it's like when you are on a stag do and everyone is at the airport at 6 o'clock in the morning and the stag do is effectively ruined for 2 days because everyone's absolutely bollocks at the airport. And when they land in Ibiza at 11:30, no one can see. So don't do this to me. Tuesday's a better day. Tuesday's a big day tomorrow. Because I am coming in hot. I'm coming in hot.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, but I just need to find some energy from somewhere because, like drinking with and then having kids on the Sunday with a hangover, Father's Day and all that stuff. Oh, my days. Tired.
What's the dress code? What's the dress code?
Oh, we can come back to that. Just come what you normally wear, Jim. Wear a shit shirt. Get that flower one out that you always wear, that shit one.
I've got it. I actually bought a new one, especially for the
one you've got there. It's surfing number.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. But we can talk about the formalities of the weekend. But I have to say, I am absolutely buzzing to get done and do a live show. A bit worried about it being streamed, but nonetheless, we've gone for James Hook as opposed to Andy Powell, just to save Andy Powell, basically, to save himself.
and save our podcast as well.
Very true. But nonetheless, look, I'll let the masses judge when we get there. I feel like I've aged significantly in the last 18 months, and we'll let the masses decide. And I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to seeing everyone again.
Let's look into the semi-finals now. Then some humble pie for you, Jim.
For many people, can we just not just me.
Jim,
go on, go through it, Andrew.
Jim, what did you say last week? Let's just rewind. And you basically said it's ending here for Quins. It's 50 points to Bristol's. The dream's over. And you went hard at them, didn't you? And then Marla gets his helicopter out. The boys are getting their pants royally pulled down. 28-0 down after 27 minutes. Donburn gets a try before half time. They give them something special at half time. I don't know what was happening in that change room. And then they win. And yeah, Jim, what have you got to say to the millions of Quins listeners? We've lost a few because of the way you attack them. But what have you got to say to the millions of Quins listeners, Jim?
We did it. We bloody did it. When the chips were down, when our DOR leaves, when the media's against us, when everyone is laughing at us, 28 minutes into the game, our pants are pulled down, there's helicopters flying around everywhere. we're dejected, and we're getting absolutely semied. We're getting absolutely pear-towed. Max Malins is flying all over the place. We are literally thinking to keep it under 100 points. And with all that adversity, we bloody pulled it back. And let's just go back and rewind. I'm happy to sit here and say I talk bollocks, right? So I am an expert. I've not called myself an expert. It's just quoted in many publishing outlets, i.e. the Rugby Pod. And it's me who generally publishes it. So,
so you say it.
Who saw that coming? So, Andrew, hand on heart, okay, hand on, if you wouldn't be able to feel your heart, hand on belly and feeling the contractions going in and out rapidly. Can you tell me 28-0 that you think, well, no, I know what you think because you text me, but are you thinking Quins are going to peel this back?
Mate, absolutely no chance. Anyone that says they do, and they did believe that at 28-0 down after 27 minutes and the way that Bristol's were playing, anyone that thinks that they can honestly say, yeah, Quins were definitely going to win that, I'm saying it now, you're liars. Because, you know, we'll speak to Nick Evans in a bit, and I'm sure they'll say there was belief in the camp. There has to be belief. Like, when you're playing the game, there has to be. If you're a Quins fan, you're not looking at that going, yeah, I could definitely see us come back and winning this game. Because Bristol, in that opening half an hour, it was probably the perfect performance, wasn't it? Literally the lines, the accuracy, the precision of pass. You know, you see Peartel waltzing through. He stepped about 14 players to get through the line for the first try. You know, the phase play off. Sorry, the first phase off the line out move when Morahan ends up scoring.
Everything was working perfectly for Bristol. You know, the tries that they were scoring, it was literally the complete performance, wasn't it? The perfect attacking performance. And to be fair to Quins, there was a couple of errors in there, but it was literally like there was nothing they could do. So anyone that believed that they could come back from that, no one could see it in World Rugby. As a player, you'd say, yeah, I believe we could always bounce back and, you know, regroup and nick a try. But it was just ridiculous from Bristol. And then half time came. Whatever Nick Evans, Jerry Flannery, Adam Jones. I think Adam Jones, I heard he took his top off and said, look, lads, you know, this is how bad it could be. It ain't that bad yet. Let's get back out there. And all the boys were pumped. He did the truffle shuffle or whatever. Anyway, those boys.
I heard he said to the lads, if we don't win this, someone's eating my belly button. That's what I heard coming out of the changing room.
And it was phenomenal, wasn't it? You know, you look at the instances that created it. Malins, who was wonderful throughout the game, he drops the high ball, goes straight into Dombrandt's hands. That gets them to 28-7. Dombrandt ain't even celebrating at that point. They're like, you know, we're getting absolutely hosed here. It's a try just before half time, but it allowed them some belief. And then they scored the try just after half time. There's the Bristol playing out their own 22 and Chisholm scores as well. It just generates belief, doesn't it? So those two tries that were gifted to Quins just gave them belief. And then they just started, you know, they grew. And as people have said before, they grew a set, didn't they? And found out that actually, you know, they can compete with this Bristol team. They can make the breaks. Liner was brilliant.
On Liner?
Yeah.
With the name, you're thinking, like, he's going to be good. And we've seen bits of him come in and out of the Quins team. What about the physicality on some of his shots?
Yeah.
On Semi Randrandra, a couple of the breakdown shots. Like, I know we're going off in terms of talking up players. You'll probably want to go into a bit more detail. I don't want to be horrible to Mike Brown. He's obviously had an incredible career, but him being banned and giving that space up to Tyrone Green. I mean, you think with a name like Tyrone, you best be good. My word, he is. Yeah. That's what I mean. Some of the look, apologies where it's due. Humble pie. I've had this perception of Quins and the way they go about their business and the culture and stuff. Alex Anderson mentioned it a couple of weeks ago. You know, the whooping and hollering, the moaning, you know, all them kind of interactions. I saw something in that Quins team that I've never seen. That unity, but also at the end of the game, the emotion around Jerry Flannery, a man who's won everything under the sun for Munster, one of the most decorated hookers in the Northern Hemisphere in terms of win ratio and the way that he played. And I don't know any other team that would have come back from that in the way in which they did, to play into extra time. You know, Joe Marler playing as long as he did, you know, with a story that we heard that he had his kid or whatever the day before. and you can only credit that. You can only credit the culture there that's been built in a short time. And we've seen it before. A new coach comes in, Alex Anderson, we've seen that sale, you get a spike. And I know you're closer to some of the Quins camp than I am, Andrew, but it goes a long way in terms of having that deep-rooted culture, and whatever Nick Evans and that coaching team have done, and making some big calls to let Mike Brown go, making some big calls in, letting Rob Shaw go. And I thought, I mean, let's say it, one of the best games I've ever seen, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it was. And I think, in defence of Mike Brown, he was actually playing, Brown was probably playing some of his best rugby before he got banned. So, it's allowed an opportunity for Tyrone Green just to flourish at fullback. He was playing on the wing as well. Liner's come back into the team. And, now you're looking at it and going, actually, next year, those boys can play like that. Are we going to miss Mike Brown? At some point, everything has to come to an end, right? So Brownie's left. We know he's going to Newcastle. At some point, if he'd have stayed at Quins, he'd have had to have retired anyway, maybe in a year or two's time. So you need that progression. You look at Don Brandt this year and how much he's come on. I know Rob Shaw's left. In the back row, look at Kenningham, the way he's come in and just, he's smashing ball. He's about 12 years old.
He's in my book, new favourite player.
Yeah.
I left a message on his Instagram. I didn't follow him. I just left a message because I've got a lot more followers. Just I thought I'd leave a message, like a flame, a fire, just to see if he liked it or follow me. He hasn't. I'm sure he will at some point. But he reminds me the way that he was going into tackles of Jacques Berger. I'll be honest with you. The way that he was putting himself about for a tall, rangy 7, like he's got if he can carry on like that, my goodness me, word, he was phenomenal.
Yeah. So, I mean, as a club, you have to make these decisions. And, I know there was a bit of back and forth around the Mike Brown thing where Brownie wants to finish his career here. They offered him contracts. Someone at the club, pretty senior, told me they offered him 4 contracts. And Mike Brown's gone out to the press and said they didn't offer me a contract. So there's always been a bit of niggle there for one reason or another. But what they have done is found this collective ability to, ultimate adversity. You're getting absolutely hosed by the top team, the team that's finished top of the log in the Premiership with worldies across the whole team. I tweeted on Friday when the teams came out, you just look at that Bristol starting team and bench, and I'm like, I reckon they're probably favourites to win the whole thing now on paper, looking at that, because they had everyone fit. Sinclair was back, Foe was on the bench, you've got the worldies in the back row, Lewiter, but things conspired against them a little bit in the second half. And Quins, well, a bit of their own doing, a couple of the errors that led to 2 tries, 14-point swing when you're 28-0 up.
Well, they lost Peartow as well, didn't they?
Peartow goes off, didn't even get looked at, which some people said it was a forearm to the face. But that's just the way things happen sometimes. So listen, Harlequins, from pants around your ankles, skid marks on show, and I tweeted, someone go in there at half time, pull the pants up, because no one wants to see these skids. And someone listened, went in there, pulled the pants up, gave them some magic juice. Probably the fear of having to lick out Adam Jones's belly button, as Jim said, if they lost. And my goodness, what a second half it was. Extra time, Marla's tackle on Callum Sheedy when, if Marcus Smith comes and puts the pressure on when he's going for the drop goal, that goes over, it's nights. With about 5 to go, they would have been 10 points up and Bristol had gone through. He steps him, and then you're thinking, geez, Bristol could score a try here. Marla, 100 minutes in the tank, however much it was at the time, and he's made a hell of a hit. And you're just thinking, that there is that graft inside the Quins boys now that there hasn't been previously. And a lot of the credit has to go to Billy Millard and the coaches who have galvanised this team. It's not a fluke they've gone on this run. They're playing a different brand of rugby from perhaps they did under Guzzy, and they all talked about their DNA. And you need not only your attacking DNA, you need some substance with it. And they didn't have the substance in the first half. They certainly had it in the second half, and thoroughly deserved in the end to be in the final.
Well, it's an epic comeback from Quins, and we can have a chat now ahead of the finals this weekend with one of the men who masterminded it. Quins coach Nick Evans joins us. How are you, mate?
I'm good, Mandy, mate. How are you?
Good.
Nick, we were just chatting just before you came on. We've done it, haven't we? Look at us. We are now in the final. I just wish I was there. I wish I was
Mate.
there to celebrate.
Are we actually talking about Quins on the show, are we?
We're talking
We
you up
do.
an absolute storm. I'm happy to eat humble pie, and you wouldn't have heard us speak about it when you listen to it back because you're not that busy this week. You'll hear the glowing report that we've spoken about. And look, I've spoken about it before, Nick, and you know, I'm quite happy to put it out there that things haven't seemed right at Quins before. There's obviously been good parts where you've played really well and then you've not backed it up. For me personally, again, it's easy to sit there and watch a game of rugby in hindsight. To go 28-0 down, right? There ain't any other team that's coming back. The way that you lads did that, and then, you know, we'll talk about the emotion after the game, and then the raw emotion from guys like Jerry Flannery, who's been around the block, he's won unbelievable trophies, he's been in fantastic teams. That's enough to show a denier like myself how good things are at Quins. But I'll let you just chat about it because, I mean, how have you done that?
Yeah, I mean, Jerry's a brilliant one because this is a totally new experience for him. You know, coming from Munster, you know, different environment, and to come to Quins and kind of the way we do things is a little bit different. And you saw the emotion. I even think there was a tear from him there at the end as well. So, yeah, look, I think it's hard to put into words, mate. Really, I mean, I think, you know, I had to do the mid-half talk. And I think we were 21 points down after 20 minutes. And to be fair, you know, they said that you were shell shocked. And I said, I think we were a little bit. You have to give credit to Bristol. They were out unbelievable in that first kind of 28 minutes. And we just had to hang in there. And those were the messages and things just weren't going our way. But I think with this group that we've got and just the environment that we have now, a belief, and having gone through, you know, games prior to that, the Wasps game, the Irish game, these little things help you in moments like that. And I think the halftime was the big one. And I'm not sure, like, if you know, but at Bristol, they send the coaches, our away coaches, right at the top. So we're with the nosebleeds. So it takes us about 5 minutes to almost get down to the room. And actually, when we got to the room at halftime, the players had spoken. And I think Joe said it. He said, look, we know we can come back. If there's anyone that doesn't think we can come back, you may as well get out of the room now. And everyone stayed. And I think that kind of just, in his own way, kind of released a little bit of the tension. We added a little bit, and we just said, look, you know, that try just before halftime was crucial for us. And we just said we have to score next. We just have to build an innings. Gave a few little tactical things that we need to address. And then once you saw we got the momentum back, you know, we're a hard team to stop when we have that kind of momentum.
I was going to say, have you been in to see Laurie Dalrymple this morning and said, mate, it was my wisdom at half time. I need a 3-year contract. It starts with a 5 or a 6, and a massive pay rise. Or was it what we believe? It was the threat. Adam Jones got his belly button out and said, if we're losing this game, someone's licking my belly button. Which one was it?
Mate, poor old Bob was having a heart attack. He was having kittens. You know, Jerry was going quiet, which is just nothing. I was standing up. I didn't really know what to do. I mean, and this is a young coaching group. You know, Charlie's there as well, and you know, this is all new experience for us, and it's kind of the excitement about it as well. You know, we kind of just react to what we're seeing. We don't have this experience of a semi-final game, and the group doesn't have that experience. You know, we've got some great leaders in there, you know, guys that have been there, you know, obviously played in this, but this is a new group that's been together, you know, young guys like Marcus and Alex Dombrandt. They haven't been in these situations before. So, you know, they were a little bit like deer in the headlights there, and it needed, you know, a Joe and a Danny and a Steph Louise to stand up and just calm them down a little bit. And yeah, we were calm. We just gave little bits of this here and there. And then just said, just go out and just be true to us, true to what we are. There's no point hiding away from it. We're 28 points or 28-5 down, boys. You know, we just need to get back into it, and we can only do it the way we can. So, and it was important, you know, 90 seconds after the restart, we score. You know, that's a big moment for us. So, and that kind of got us on our way.
Yeah, you mentioned Joe Marler and his words at halftime, and Joe's one of them guys where he divides opinion, right? But there's no doubt, and it's undeniable how good a rugby player he is, right? Not just in the scrum, not just how long he stayed on the pitch ball, but only came out recently. Didn't he fly in the chopper? Who sanctioned that? Whose idea was that? And I mean, but it's quite a risky thing to do, isn't it? I mean, he obviously shows how important, but I mean, maybe a few lines on his performance and, you know, how much it means to him to be a Harlequin, and obviously how good he was to stay on as well.
I've got the utmost respect for Joe. You know, I've been honoured to play with him and now be on the other side of it. And you know, he's a fantastic bloke, and and be honest, it was a tough week for him. You know, his wife Daisy, love her wife Daisy, and he's got 3 kids, and he's got one on the way, and we're not sure when it's going to come. And you know, so there's a lot of emotion that's going around that. And it was important that we let Joe, you know, be where he needed to be during that week. And he was brilliant throughout the week. You know, he was there when he needed to be there, and he was at home when he needed to be at home, which is really, really important. And I think, you know, it was an easy decision to make sure that, you know, for him and the right state that he needed to be in for his, and especially for his family, that if this was the way to do it, to chop him down on the day, then that was the way that we needed to do it. And you know, we fully made sure that that we got that in place. And again, Andy Sanger, sorry, our welfare manager, was a massive help and part of that. You know, he's the glue that's kind of not holding us together, but a big part of holding us together. So, you know, he dealt with that along with Graham and Billy, and and Joe came down and put in, arguably one of the best props performances ever.
Yeah, he was phenomenal. And just looking at the overall game, Nick, it's you know, coming back from where you came back from, it's the biggest comeback in Premiership history, and it was a semi-final. You've been involved in some unbelievable games for Quins over your time since gone over as a player. You think back to the Stade Francais game at the Stoop. You think back to winning the Premiership, and also winning the Challenge Cup as well. You've been involved in some unbelievable moments for that club. Where does Saturday, where does Saturday sit in terms of that emotion, that just compelling game, in terms of what you've been involved in?
No, nothing's been like that, mate, to be honest, for me. We were talking to Adam Jones, and he's been in probably 200 more games than I've been in, and high profile games, and he hasn't been in a game like that before ever. And I think, like you say there, emotionally, you know, we were on such a high. And even on the bus trip back, I think it was this morning, we came in and we're probably just getting on the back end of it. You know, we're still kind of on that bit of a down, because, you know, you keep seeing it, keep hearing about it. You know, you get the text messages, everyone starts coming out of the woodwork, and which is great, and that's all part of it, and it should be. But we also know we've got a big game coming up this Saturday, and it's important that this week is all about, one, getting the boys' bodies right, because we played 105 minutes of rugby, so that's priority number one. But two, making sure we get the emotions right, because there is going to be a natural big come down from that, and it's then making sure that we don't just try and get them back up really quickly on the Tuesday or the Wednesday. It's got to be a real tapered, emotional kind of week for us. So, but for me, mate, it was just kind of shock. You know, I think everyone, you know, we had a bit of a chat about it with the spy meeting today, and we're having a bit of a laugh about it. I think the coaches were looking at it going, this could be 50 lads, and then the boys are at halftime going, really, like, can we, like, and you know, it's good to have a bit of a laugh about it, but collectively, when we got onto task and did what we needed to do, and you look at some of the performances, you know, Wilco Lowe tackling Monaghan in the corner, you know, Lewis Liner tackling Sheedy, you know, when they went for the drop kick, you know, Marla coming across and little things like that, and then their try disallowed, our try disallowed, you know, Don Brett goes close in the corner, you know, so the emotional roller coaster of that, and then going into an extra time that's never happened before, I think, in the semi-final, to not really kind of sure how this is going to play out, and guys all over the place. So yeah, it's something that I've never really been involved with before, and I do miss playing, but seeing some of those boys after 104 minutes, except for Joe Marchant, who looks like he'd just come off the tennis court for about 10 minutes, it was ridiculous. But yeah,
a couple of beers on the way back.
Yeah, no, definitely. And again, but then, you know, this is the world we live in now. You know, it's you know, let's go back 5 or 10 years back in your guys' day, or our day, I could say. I'm not that young. You know, we would have torn right into it. But you know, it's COVID now. You can see just what's happening, I think, on the news with English football. You know, a couple of guys been in contact with Scottish boys, and someone tested positive. So you know, that's again a new world, and we have to be careful, because we don't want to have that kind of running through. So. Yeah, look, we enjoyed the bus trip back, and that was really important as well. And then we're just going to look forward and get excited for this week.
Yeah, what's been the shift, Nick, at Quins? Obviously, Guzzy going there. We spoke about in the podcast, like we do the headline things. Yeah. I work with them at Saracens. Obviously, a massive story going there, bringing the Wolf back. And there was a spike in terms of how Quins played at the beginning. Whatever happened with Guzzy's happened. And then you're kind of left to hold the reins. We saw at Wasps when Di Young left. And they had a spike in terms of their performances last year as well. But again, I sound like a right fucking hypocrite when I talk about it. I am. I'm happy to say I am. But I look at the weekend, but just the way you went about your business, but also the young lads as well. Like Jack Kenningham comes in, never heard of the bloke. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Seen a little bit in the lead up. And I think it shows you everything. by the way that he played, the way that he put himself in the way of oncoming traffic, and the way that he was tackling Lewis Liner as well. We mentioned Tyrone Green, like these lads that I haven't really, and it's probably a reflection of myself really, in terms of looking deeply into a team and the dynamics. What's changed since you've taken the reins?
Yeah, look, I think a lot of things, Jim. I think it's hard to put it on one thing. I think obviously there's going to be a natural bit of a spike when someone goes, and then when someone obviously comes as well. So I think again, if I go back to Andy Sanger, he's ex-military. He said, I remember the day when Guzzy left, he gave him a great speech about some of the personal stuff he went through about sometimes in war, something you lose a mate or something, you got to put a line in the sand, and either you just cower away or you move forward and everyone takes accountability for it. And that was something we all did as players and staff, for Guzzy going. So I think that was a big shift for us just moving forward. And then we just kind of tapped back into the DNA, obviously from when I first came over, of what the club was about. And this wasn't just us as coaches or medical or anything. It was a combined effort, the players as well, senior players, or the whole playing group. And just went back to get easy wins. We adjusted training a little bit. And actually it's funny, going to the semi-final, like all the narratives was we can't do it, like they can't do it. Yeah, they score tries, but they leak this, and Bristol aren't going to let them score 7 tries. Well, it's like, well, hang on, why not? We win the first few games after Guzzy left, and everyone's like, oh, they won't be able to keep it up. They'll come up against big teams that do this and teams that do that, and then
who are these idiots?
Yeah, it's true, and like I don't listen to all these things, but people tell me this stuff. But it's and you kind of go, well, actually, you just start building something, and you start, you're working on the environment in the background, and you as I said, this kind of freedom talk, but it's just a collaborative approach to trying to play the game that we know we can play. And I go back to kind of what I do in coaching and coaching through relationships, and like, man, I try and have meetings where I don't talk and try and let these guys kind of come up with it. I try and let these guys coach themselves a little bit. Like the game's different from when I was coaching. I've got so much knowledge, but it's a knowledge from a game that I played, not a game that they're in now. These guys, Marcus Smith, Danny Kerr, Alex Dombrat, they're in a game. They feel the game the way it is. So, I need to be direct. I need to be direct with systems and structures, but, I need to be supportive. I need to have advice. I need to shut up. Like some meetings, I just want to sit there and not say anything and let them problem solve and come up with things, because that's what they do in the field. So, look, we don't get things right all the time. And, the players don't get things right all the time, but we're just trying to play a style that suits us, and we'll keep adding to it. And at the moment, we're getting some great results, and everyone's buying in. And and most important, we're just enjoying what we're doing.
Yeah, definitely. And you look at the spine of the team that you just mentioned there, the 8, 9, 10 axis. Obviously, Don Brandt, Danny Kerr, and Marcus Smith. I've been so impressed with Marcus Smith this season. Not that I wasn't last year, because he's burst on the scene and he's an incredibly talented individual. And you see these players come and go, don't you, with a ridiculous amount of talent. But he's now got the maturity. He's still about 16 in nappies and stuff, but he's got the maturity of a 30-year-old that's played 100, 200, 300 games of understanding, yes, when to press the button and go, but also when to control a game as well. And he's obviously learning a hell of a lot of you. There's a lot of Nick Evans traits that I see in him as well when he plays. How proud are you of his development? How far has he got to go still? And hopefully we're going to see him play for England this summer, aren't we?
Yeah, 100%. I think he's done amazingly well. I think when he first arrived, being thrust into the kind of pressure cooker, with Dimitri getting his throat injury, he had to play, and he's played over 100 games now.
Yeah.
The kid's only been, starting for 2 or 3 years. So, and I think you add the experience in around him at the moment with Danny, of Andre, that's been around, even though he hasn't been playing, but he's been in and around, and obviously Brownie when he was there, and Joe and Steph. So I think like the world's his oyster, mate. I can't really see a ceiling at the moment because of his exponential growth in terms of his ability. And at the moment, attack wise, he's on another planet. And the great thing about him, he's got great self-awareness. He knows the areas of the game that he has to improve. He knows that when he came from school rugby, you can't just run around the halfway and look for a break all the time like he did in under 18s or school rugby. You do that against Sarries or Sale, you get in trouble, and next thing you know, you're defending them all 5 meters out. So, you know, game management, the things that probably people don't see on Instagram, you know, like game management, play calling, you know, energy conservation of the forwards, you know, how to manipulate defenses through our shape when we need to have shape, when we don't need shape, what do we do, and that kind of stuff. So I think that stuff now I've seen a massive growth, and mate, he's just such a thirst for information. He's so coachable. He's driven. He wants to win at everything. You come up with a game or a drill, and the first thing he's trying to work out how to win it, and you got to think of another bloody one because that doesn't work anymore because he's figured that out. So, and it's brilliant. So look, I think, you know, I think he should be playing for England this tour, summer tour coming up. But obviously, you know, first and foremost, he wants to win a premiership.
There's been comparisons with him and Dan Carter. How far do you think he could go? Could he get that good?
Oh, look, I think it's hard to tell, mate. I think the kid's 21, 22, so there's a long scope to go. You know, I didn't even play professional rugby yet at 21, 22. So, you know, as I said, like the ceiling's so high for him. I kind of like him to Richie Mwanga, actually. You know, him coming through.
Yeah, very true.
You know, I see a lot of him and Richie, a lot of Richie and him, and just the ability to play within a system now and understands, you know, he understands our identity, how we want to play, the DNA of the club. He's got that now, and now it's just ability to play within that, but still have the instinctiveness to play what he sees, which is what rugby is all about, you know. Like, so I think that's one super strength of Richie, and I'm seeing that in Marcus as well.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I'm just listening to you lads talk about him. I spoke to Warren Gatland a couple of weeks ago. I don't know how. I was doing an interview with him for the British Irish Lions. But
you're still trying to get on that, are you?
I know, exactly. It's all done. Nick,
embarrassing, Jim.
Well, I think in 2013, when I gave away 9 penalties in 8 minutes in that game in Hong Kong, probably that was the nail in the coffin.
Hell of a trip that was.
It was. I'll tell you what, it made me into the man that I am today. But it was interesting because I was just chatting to him about different players. We were talking about different 10s. We were talking about Sam Simmons being picked for the Lions and not playing for England. And then he brought up Marcus Smith. He was like, look, you've got a lad playing at Harlequins who he thinks will be the next England 10 for the next 6 or 7 years. It sounded as if he weren't that far away from the Lions, from what Gatland was saying. He was that big a fan. If Gatland says he's good, then he must be good.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and that's awesome because it just shows the growth of him and also like the excitement of the future. And again, I guess you go back because it's very easy, you know, us talking about it and all these people writing up these things as they should because he's had a hell of a season. The ability to know, and as I said, this is where his self-awareness comes in. He knows what areas of the game he needs to work on. He knows what he's good at. He knows how to keep improving that. And we just keep working on it. And look, it's not just me, you know, working with him, you know, all the coaching group work with him, you know, Jerry on defense, you know, he's got a great support network outside of rugby. You know, his family's really close to him. His brothers are brilliant. You know, I'm sure he's got I think he's still, you know, in touch with Johnny Wilkinson. So like, I think he almost sometimes gets too much information, but, you know, he's got such a thirst for improvement, you know, that the kids, you know, he's just growing and growing. So, yeah, look, he's fun to work with, and it's great to watch him do his stuff when he's on form.
Let's look forward to this weekend then. Obviously, Exeter, it's their 6th final on the spin, which is a phenomenal achievement. And you know, a lot of people will probably be predicting that they're the favourites. One, are you happy with that as a Quins fan? You're happy to fly kind of under the radar. You don't want anyone else saying that you're definitely going to win it. And two, how do you attack this Exeter team? Do you change much up? Is it a completely different focus because they're a forward orientated, you know, pick and go game, the driving maul? You've got to change a few things, but stick to your own DNA, right?
Yeah, no, 100%. I think we wouldn't be true to ourselves if we look to change kind of the whole package, so to speak. So look, I think let's be honest, like Exeter are unbelievable. You know, I'm in awe of some of the stuff that they do. You know, they're well coached. You know, Rob, Ali, and Julie doing an amazing job. They lead kind of the Premiership in their coaching. Their squad is fantastic. You know, some of their players, I've really enjoyed watching them from, you know, almost, I know I'm against them, but watching them come through where they've come from to where they are now. You know, it's fantastic to see that, and they've got big game experience. So look, I think we know a few areas that we need to make sure, you know, obviously you just alluded to it there around their forwards. You know, they're a very powerful side, and you know, you let them into your 22, it's pretty hard to stop them coming away with points. So, you know, our discipline is going to be crucial. You know, we've got to make sure that the physical side of it on both sides of the ball is going to be a massive step up. But look, like we've done our analysis. We think there's a few opportunities for us that we can, have a go at them and look to make it a really good game. But look, I think it's going to be fantastic. Two good sides going at each other. Maybe a little bit of a contrast in styles, but that's what it's all about. And we'll go there like we did last week. Be true to ourselves. Go there and give it a crack. One thing we talked about last week was no regrets, and it'll be the same message this week as well.
All right, Nick, thank you very much for coming on the show, mate. It was class, and best of luck for this weekend.
No worries, guys. Have a great one.
Top lad. What a lad.
Yeah, he really is. He really is snapper. Mate, I've obviously played against him a few times, and he was such a good lad playing against him. He was an unbelievable player and character on the field. What a bloke to listen to, though, about coaching. That transition from, especially being you see how hard it is for some players that play at a club for so long, then go into the coaching team, and that transition. But I could listen to him all day. What a bloke.
I didn't think he was going to make it as a coach, because in 2013, with the Barbarians, we were talking about doing a DSP, which is dummy scissors switch or something like that, or a pop ball. And I was running this short line, and he might have been a bit hungover. He said that he didn't want me to get the ball on the switch, and I was adamant that that's where the weak spot was against the Lions in Hong Kong. Like, I knew that they'd be tired in that, and he was adamant that he weren't going to give me the ball. And ever since then, I was like, this bloke ain't going to make it as a coach, because if he's thinking that not hitting me up on a short line is not going to benefit the team, then I don't know what fucking will. So,
there's a theory to that, isn't there, Jim? Farrell did it as well. Nick Evans did. Just didn't give you the fucking ball, mate.
No. Farrell wouldn't hit me on a short line. Nick wouldn't hit me on a switch, for fuck's sake. So
it's the same thing. Just don't give Jim the ball is the motto.
Well, there we go. He was right.
Just go and clear the rock out and shoot someone. But mate, you're such a bottle job, aren't you? Like, you give it all the big one on here, and then someone from Quins comes on, and Snapper's a great bloke. You're like, we can do it, Nick. Nick, we can do it. Like, I'm a big Quins fan now. Who are you? Who are you, Jim? Are you James? Are you Jim?
No. I was James then. I love Nick Evans, and I love Adam Jones, and I love Jerry Flannery. Look, clubs are built on culture, aren't they? And you look at all the people in charge of the very best clubs in that top four, and we've spoken to all of them, apart from Rob Baxter, who said he's going to come on if they win the Prem. Look, they're all good blokes. And what I really like about it is when they're on BT Sport and there is this interaction, like you hear them speak as the game's going on. And Nick Evans is, I mean, you talk about lovely men and world-class players and now a top-class coach. There you go. That shows it, doesn't it? And you've got Jerry Flannery, who you only have to look at his career. You look at Adam Jones, the same, and the emotion that they show. You've got three fucking top blokes at the helm, and therefore it's going to filter through and fair play. And I genuinely mean it. And I'm happy to eat humble pie.
And what about the other semi-final? Sale threatened to produce a comeback of their own, didn't they?
Very different game. And I don't know whether it's because all the excitement, and it led straight into that game. There was no build-up on TV. We didn't hear many interviews at all after the Quinn celebrations, like they just won the cup final.
They now, is it, Jim? Now we go on to another semi-final. It's they again.
Yeah, well, it's Nick Evans. Like, he's a mate of mine, and obviously it is a bit of we and they, but it was a very different game. And again, tweeted. I don't know if anyone saw it or interacted with me. If you did, thank you, Jim Hamilton 4 at Jim Hamilton 4. But first 20 minutes, 3 tries, Exeter, physical. Loads of talking points out of that game. Manu Tuolangi goes off with a yellow card.
The big one around Manu, he's gone out the line with force, clipped him in the face. Capstick goes off, concussed. It's very early in the game. And I don't think Tom Foley wanted to give a red, even though he should have, because it's so early in the game and it's a semi-final. So he's just gone with, there's limited force there. Limited force. Manu's come on the show, friend of the show. He'll know he's got it slightly wrong, and this is where you've got to be careful. You need to take the line speed out sometimes, as opposed to accelerating into a tackle, because that's where the danger comes. And that's to me, it's a stonewall red, isn't it? But that's where the inconsistencies lie, and you can see the frustration on Rob Baxter after the game, can't you?
Well, why being so negative, Andrew? Let's keep it positive.
Just be honest.
Was it me who started it?
You mentioned Jack Noel there. Big surprise before the game with Rob Baxter leaving out Stuart Hogg and putting Noel in there.
I reckon. And then I didn't know anything around it until after the game, where Rob Baxter mentioned that he dropped Hoggy. He dropped him because his performance wasn't good enough the week before, and he wanted to get Jack Noel in. And looking back on the game, was it the right decision? I thought Jack Noel was absolutely phenomenal, but not to see Hoggy get on. Personally, I was gutted for him. You know what I mean? Because I know how much it means to him. We see it every time he plays. But look, you know, Exeter, they know, you know, the coaches know the game of rugby a lot better than I do. But personally, I'm gutted for Hoggy. But if we're talking frankly, I thought Jack Noel was absolutely phenomenal. And if anyone's going to be sponsored by Red Bull, it's him, innit? How high can that man jump? And how good is he under a high ball?
Red Bull gives you wings, doesn't it? Yeah.
Well, that's the line. Yeah.
And that's the thing, isn't it? You talk about Hoggy being dropped, and I already had a little niggle, and then actually Rob Baxter just confirmed. He said, no, he's dropped. And you look at the final this week, who are you dropping now? Because O'Flaherty played well. Alex Cuthbert, who's leaving, had his best game I've seen him play for a long time.
He was class, yeah.
And then Jack Noel was, you know, had a worldly performance at fullback. So I love Hoggy. I'm in Jim's camp. You want to see him play, and you know he's the sort of guy. And Exeter will get this because middle of the Six Nations, he's still going back and giving everything for Exeter. You know, some players go back to their club. I did it myself when I was at Breve. Went back middle of the Six Nations, having to play for Breve, away at Dax, and I'm like, I ain't even making a tackle, boys.
Where? Dax?
Yeah, Dax away it was. Yeah,
I didn't
relegation
say
battle.
Didn't say that.
But there's Hoggy going back and giving full beans. So he cares about it massively, and it'll hurt him, I think, hugely to be dropped for a semi-final. I just wonder whether he's going to put him back in this weekend. And if he does, who's he dropping? The only one you probably could drop, I don't know, Cuthbert, just because he's leaving, so that you don't have to deal with the feelings of next year. But then he was unbelievable at the weekend.
I don't think he'll change it.
No, I don't think he will. But yeah, it's, you know, I think Sale will be very frustrated with two of the tries they conceded, which ultimately I think was a difference. One was the knock-on intercept in the first half where O'Flaherty scores. You know, off Slade's break, Slade picked it up, didn't he? And then stuck it into O'Flaherty. And the second one was, you know, they got themselves back to 5 points down or something, I think it was. And then Hammersley, and I played with the Hammer at Newcastle. He's a lovely lad. I reckon I could have turned a bit quicker than that, and my ankle's fucked. So poor lad, he just got stuck, didn't he? And he's looking for the ball, and then Cuthbert, he tries to lead into Cuthbert, loses the collision off the ball, and Jack Noel scores it. And you end up, when you look back at semi-finals, both semi-finals, you look back at them as the losing team, and you can pinpoint a few things. Big swings in the game were those two tries that Sale conceded, soft tries. Alex Anderson said it after the game that I've just described, and also for Bristol, who capitulated a bit in the second half. The two tries that they conceded were the Max Malin's high ball that he drops just before half time, and then when they're playing in their own 22 and it goes completely wrong, and Chisholm picks up and scores. And in semi-finals, you just can't do that.
We'll talk about the Lions later, but just while we've mentioned Hoggy, because every expert has nailed him on as their starting fullback. Have you guys noticed any concerns about his form, or is there anything wrong with his Lions form going into South Africa?
I thought he's been going really well. So I didn't watch the Sale game the week before in maybe as much detail, and it's a massive ballsy call. It's a ballsy call because you look at that back three. O'Flaherty plays unbelievably every week. Alex Cuthbert is obviously off. Baxter mentioned they can't fit him into the salary cap. He's been injured for large parts of his Exeter career. Hoggy has been their star player, really. Do you know what I mean? In the games under the radar, like Goody said, when he's got to come back and play, his appetite to want to play after the World Cup, in the fallow weeks of the Six Nations. So that commitment, week on week, captain in Scotland as we go into a Lions tour. But Jack Noel was phenomenal. So, you know, is Jack Noel going to get called up to the Lions off the back of that performance? I reckon he might, not just for that performance, but how good he is with ball in hand. But I still would say that Hoggy is the man in possession of that 15 jersey. But I don't know whether I'm blinkered by loyalty and love.
Well, no, I think you're right. You look at when they all get in camp, and you know, obviously we know the Lions are going to play this week against Japan, and probably Liam Williams will start at fullback. in that game. There's then, what is the 5 games pre the first test, for where they'll all get a shot. I know, listen, Hoggies, you don't lose your class overnight. Yeah, the old saying, class is permanent, form is temporary. Yeah, maybe he gets a shot in the final this week, maybe he doesn't. Get in camp, and I'm sure he'll tear it up and he'll get his opportunity. And I still think he's favourite to start fullback as it stands right now, just because he hasn't got picked for a club game. Albeit a big semi-final. I don't think that'll impact yet.
How do you guys see the final going?
If you're going based on everything you've seen, you got to go with Exeter, haven't you? You've got to go with Exeter. I don't know. It is a hard one to call because it's a one-off game. You look at the emotion after the semi-final from Quins, and it was like they just won the final. And I completely get it. I completely understand why they've gone away from home to Ashton Gate, losing 28-0, and they've gone into extra time, and all the emotion around that, like, it would have taken a bit out of you. It would have taken a bit out of the whole team.
That tank is empty. That tank, come Saturday, 5 o'clock, whenever it was, they're having a few jars in the change room, but their tank was fully empty, wasn't it?
And you're up against a team like Exeter, who, albeit had 30 points scored against them by Sale, but are a lot tighter in terms of the way that they play. Do you know what I mean? It's a lot more structured. I think it's a really interesting final. I think I want Quins to go there and play. I want us to go there and just throw everything at it. And don't go into, listen to me, Harlequins, listen to me. Don't go there and start kicking and doing all these things. Just play, big fellas. They've got the quality, clearly they have. To go down to Bristol's and win in the way in which they did, they've obviously got a decent shot at the weekend. I'm not just saying that because it's a final and one-off game. If you go based solely on that performance against Bristol.
Jim, you've hugely disappointed all our Harlequins listeners there, because I got a numerous amount of messages over the weekend.
So did I.
Quins fans on social media saying,
so did I.
Jim wrote the team talk for them by completely writing them off on the rugby pod last week. So by the fact that you're now saying there's a chance, there's no chance.
I'm happy to say that they don't have a chance.
There you go. Stick your name on a scoreline, and it will galvanise Harlequins, because your scoreline will probably be heavily in Exeter's favour. But the question should be, Andrew. The question should be: is who do you want to win? Why? Why are you being horrible, mate? We're impartial on the rugby pod here. Exeter
we're fans. Exeter.
But it's like you go back to the World Cup 2019, and I don't want to bring it up again, but England, did they play their final by beating New Zealand in the semi-final, and then a week later perhaps didn't turn up to a final? Can you see Harlequins doing that? Not in terms of how they're going to play, because I think they're just going to continue doing what they're doing, but it's this whole thing. Exeter, this is their 6th final on the spin. They did the double last year. They're used to these big knockout games. They've never lost a semi-final. Yeah, 6 on the spin. Never lost a semi-final since they've made them, and they've made 6 finals on the spin. And they had their scare. I think they had their scare round 22 of the Premiership when Sale nearly turned them over. They nearly lost the home semi-final, and you saw a very different team in this semi-final. The way they came out the blocks, and I think what they'll try and do to Harlequins very early on is do what they did to Sale, and they'll just try and blitz them. They know it'd be a really interesting set piece battle, actually, because that's where Exeter have a lot of power, and they get a lot of penalties and advantage from that. And to be fair to Quins, Joe Marler probably scrimmaging like the best tight. So Joe Marler probably scrimmaging like the best loose head in the world at the minute. Wilco Lowe as well, proper tight head. So that battle's going to be interesting.
And that's what I was going to say on that, Andrew. You took the words out of my mouth, because that's what we do on here. And the set piece. So you mentioned the scrum. That was arguably the changing point of the weekend as well. Like Marler in the front row, having played 125 minutes, losing the front of his hair. Mohawk's now gone. He's got an extra kid with a helicopter coming into the game. His performance in the scrum, and they're good at line-out defence as well. And that's where Exeter, obviously, the way they play, scrum penalties, line-out penalties, kick to the corner, and that's all she wrote. So from that perspective, yes, but then also the discipline. If you remember, they went with this counter-rucking mentality against Bristol's, and they were getting pinged off the park left, right and centre. You do that against Exeter. Slavey kicks it to the corner like he did against Harlequins. He did against Saracens.
What a nudge that was. What a nudge that was.
He went out. That went out and never got picked up. But anyway,
I was there, mate. It was a hell of a kick.
Yeah, I wasn't. But that's what I mean. That's the issue that you've got. Your discipline's got to be on point against Exeter. Otherwise, you are 100% losing the game, he says.
The British and Irish Lions series gets underway this weekend as well, with the first warm-up game against Japan at Murrayfield. Are you guys excited? What are you expecting from this one?
I'm excited to watch it live. Now, I've spoken about it many times. 4 years ago, me and Andrew were in New Zealand. Didn't think it was going to be that good. It was absolutely unbelievable. So there's going to be some fans at BT Murrayfield, a lot of happy people, a lot of upset people who've missed out on tickets. So it's the start. It's here. There's been a huge build-up, hasn't there? I know they're not going to be at full noise because they've still got players to come back into the squad who'll be playing at the final. But nonetheless, it'll be class. I mean, it's a great opening game against Japan. Japan have been fantastic. Well, they were a couple of years ago. I've not seen much of them since. But this is it now. It's on like Donkey Kong. And, looking at some of the kind of video clips that the Lions have been putting out, it'll be interesting to see what team they put out. Looks like Dan Bigaroo's going to be starting at 10. I think that's fairly obvious, to be fair, considering Faz was playing in the big one against Ealing, which was a close encounter. And obviously Finn as well was playing in the semi-final. But yeah, look, I don't know what more to say. I can't wait.
Yeah, it should be good. Should be really good. And it'll be interesting first set out to see. Everyone starts to kind of look at combinations, don't they? Around who's he going to play together? Who's he going to end up picking in the test series? It's an opportunity. I think it'll be fairly comfy for the Lions. So exciting looking at some of the clips from Jersey. They look like they're having a good time. They're training hard, but also, they're bonding together, playing a bit of golf and different things. So everyone, to a man, to a woman, to a child that supports the Lions, cannot wait for the game.
Let's have a look at the Pro 14 as well, because it was the Rainbow Cup final at the weekend. And Jim, your Benetton defeated the Bulls to take it out.
Yes, we did. Not just
another way, is it? Another way, is it?
Well, 2 years ago, Andrew, I was there building up a documentary about the foundations of the club and how good they are. And
what was the impact?
Seb Negri and Marco Bortolami both said to me, this is the turning point. When I was there in the huddle, quote unquote, whether or not it's to do with me or not, I just remember them saying, when I'm in the huddle with them, in Italian, something about it being the turning point of their club history and career. And you fast forward, a cup that was never really going to unfold or materialise, ended up materialising. Benetton top the Northern Hemisphere for the Rainbow Cup. The Bulls top it as well. They come up to Italy, boiling hot heat. Stevie Ferris is there, sunburnt with Bobby Skinstad on Premier Sports. No one saw an absolute slipper incoming apart from the United colours of Benetton. They were united at the weekend, and
see what you've done there.
So just tying it all in together. That's I just put the jigsaw together. But look, speaking frankly, huge. For Kieran Crowley's last game, he's going upstairs at Italy. What kind of job's he going to do? Who knows? But he's done a fantastic job there. And I went there, and I tweeted it. Some wicked people involved. They're grafters. They haven't got many star names in the ranks in terms of world-class, world-renowned names, but it's not a fluke. It's not a fluke to top the northern part of the Rainbow Cup and then to beat a South African team. Yes, the travel that they had to do and put in, but I thought it was class.
You remember when you were in that huddle at Benetton all those years ago, 2 years ago, and you thought they were saying this is the turning point? Are you sure they weren't saying Jim's a turncoat and he'll leave this huddle and then he'll bag us for a couple of years and then he'll try and claim that it was all him when they get the victory? Because in the Pro 14, they played 16, didn't win a game. Yeah, they've somehow turned it around.
But that's old news. That's old news.
Yeah, exactly. Somehow they've turned it round and they've finished top of the log in terms of the Northern Hemisphere and then absolutely battered the Bulls. I think the Bulls thought they were going to rock up. Yes, they left a few South Africans at home in terms of test match players, but I thought the way they looked, they were going to rock up and just dismantle Benetton. But it was their pants that got pulled down, wasn't it, James?
The Blues won the Super Rugby Trans-Tasman final at the weekend, and their CEO, Andrew Hoare, said that there's plans to create a Champions League-style global club competition with teams from the Southern Hemisphere, Europe, and potentially the USA and Japan. that's now underway, the talks are now underway. Can you guys see that happening? Do we even need something like that in rugby?
I don't know if we need it. I'll be honest. I'll say it again. I think there's a need for global season, summer rugby potentially. I mean, they might need it more than us in the profile. I love the structure of the European Cup that we saw last year, Andrew, with the top 16. You convinced me. You were right. Obviously, how well Ealing did against Saracens, albeit not the score. But, you know, I think everything's all right in the Northern Hemisphere. The top 14s ticking along.
Yeah, this is the thing, though. You rewind back a year and, you know, we were sat on this podcast and everyone was like, right, this is a great time to reset rugby and, you know, go with the global calendar. And we had August and Pichot coming on, wanting to change things. They had Bill Beaumont who came on and he was a bit slower to change things. And it was, you know, everyone was making these fantastic noises around aligning the whole of world rugby with a structure, you know, from the club game to the international game where everything is aligned. And we're a year later, what the fuck's changed? Nothing's changed, has it? So, and what it is to me, genuinely, you look at the Super Rugby competition that we've seen, and we spoke about it over the last few weeks. Obviously, the South African teams have drifted away from that now, and they're joining the United Rugby Championship. The Kiwis are looking at it going, wait, we've just hosed all the Australian teams by about 50 points every week. We need some more competition. We need a slice of the pie up north because there's a decent competitions there. There's a bit of money and all this stuff. And again, it'll all boil down to, there'll be, imagine the TV rights that will be sold. I think it's, and the only thing you can also compare it to, just remember the European Super League football debacle, let's say, that went on when 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 clubs said, yeah, we're having it, we're having all the cash, we've got everything. And then the fans went into uproar. I'm with Jim. Like, I don't mind the fact that you try and get a Super Rugby winner playing a European Champions Cup winner in a one-off game. But yeah, to have, how are you having a league when you've got to travel 100 years to get to New Zealand and COVID and quarantine? It's just not happening, is it? So I think what we need to do is the fact that we're still in the game now and we're 14, 15 months down the line of the pandemic, and we've still got every club in the Premiership still alive. The same in Ireland, the same in Scotland, the same in Wales, and some of them by the skin of their teeth. But I don't think you need to try and chuck something else in there to change things up again. Where you're talking about a global club competition, it's basically going to be the top teams trying to cream everything off the top, and the lesser teams will disappear. So, I think it's a pipe dream. I think there's things to be looked at over the coming 5 or 10 years as USA Rugby grows and the league there, and obviously the Japanese top league. But the reality of a global league like that is just crazy. Geographically, ain't going to happen.
Thanks, Jim. Thanks, Gertie. Thanks, producer Tim. And thank you very much for listening. Don't forget to check us out on YouTube and head on over to Spotify, and we'll see you there.
I'm coming down, boys. It's the Rugby Spot.
Spotted pod. See you on Wednesday.